10 names on a list. Each have come to an unexpected and circumstantial end. Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians is the template for all such stories. And as in that classic, we need to find out just what links these names together. Adrian Messenger, an English writer to the manor born, is off to America to find the answer. Before leaving, however, he asks family friend Sir Anthony Guthrie, a former member of MI5, to inquire discreetly about the names on the list, and more specifically, how many are still alive. Messenger's plane explodes soon after takeoff, but he survives long enough to whisper vague, seemingly unrelated sentences to a fellow survivor as they cling to a piece of floating debris in the North Atlantic. Messenger soon dies, but the other survivor, a Frenchman named Leborg, is rescued. As it turns out, Leborg was a member of the French Resistance and collaborated with Guthrie during the war. Personally offended that he was blown out of the sky, he joins the hunt as he and Guthrie track down the unknown killer as he murders each name on the list. Based on the novel by Philip MacDonald, this 1963 murder mystery directed by John Huston is great, cozy couch fun. But modern audiences may have their knives out for it, as it's in black and white and is loaded with movie stars who may not be familiar or even recognizable. But the real fun, as in any murder mystery, is the procedural solving of the crime. In this case, it starts with phonetics, as Guthrie and Leborg attempt to decipher Messenger's last words. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is about as much plot as I dare reveal. Except to say that actor-producer Kirk Douglas gets to play the villain, and he's having a great time playing a man who becomes many men. What actor could resist? But it's George C. Scott who steals the show. Rex Harrison could not sing, and yet he did My Fair Lady both on Broadway and on film. He simply spoke the lyrics, and George C. Scott does much the same thing in the list of Adrian Messenger. He doesn't affect an accent so much as suggest one. That, and a lot of old boy Britishisms, help shape his performance. Dana Winter pops up on both sides of the Atlantic, as she was prone to do in the 50s and 60s. And as usual, she brings a touch of elegance to whatever role she's playing. In the 50s, producers like William Castle were famous for selling their movies with all sorts of gimcrackery gimmicks. 1965's 10 Little Indians, for example, would use an on-screen ticking clock where audiences had 60 seconds to guess the identity of the killer. The gimmick of this movie is all the guest stars hidden under tons of makeup. They include Tony Curtis, Burt Lancaster, Frank Sinatra, Robert Mitchum, and of course Kirk Douglas as the man who becomes many men. During the epilogue, the stars appear on camera, removing their disguises and revealing their true identities. Curtis is an undercover organ grinder. I can't. No, I'm sorry. While Frank Sinatra is a gypsy horse trader. And Burt Lancaster, he's in drag. Again, the makeups by John Chambers are very obvious. It's simply a case where sometimes less really is more. Chambers would later win an Oscar for his work on Planet of the Apes and would later help the CIA as depicted in the film Argo. But of all the guest stars, only Robert Mitchum really delivers. He's the only one with any scenes to play, and his Jim Slattery is a Cockney sleazebag right out of Dickens. It's said that John Huston did this film because he wanted to film a fox hunt. He was living in his manor house, St. Clarence, in Ireland, and it's somewhat surprising that he didn't shoot in color given all that lush green scenery. A few years later, he shot Night of the Iguana in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and he later regretted not shooting it in color given all that lush green scenery. I was 10 years old when the list of Adrian Messenger made it to the Bayside Theater. It was on a double bill with Birdman of Alcatraz. Burt and Kirk. How could I have missed that? I didn't see the movie until it hit TV the following year, and it was one of the first times I had heard a Jerry Goldsmith score, and I've been a lifelong fan ever since. But listening to it again after all these years, the creepy, sneaky Pete stuff strikes the proper melodramatic chords, while at other times the score seems to strive for a lighthearted, almost comedic turn. One last thing. There are moments when this movie feels patched together, with dialogue tracks redubbed by vocal artist Paul Frees. This is glaringly true in an early scene with actor Herbert Marshall and a later scene with French actor Jacques Raux. Now, I don't know if this was to cover some technical gaffe or an effort to create even more mystery within a mystery. In the end, this is a fun, lazy afternoon on the couch type of movie. I give it 3 out of 5 pillows. See you around the campus.